I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Pretty ingenious to turn the tower to send out radio signals.
From the heart of Garlemald, you're listening to G-Land 97.1 with Xenos and Fendenial. 100% non-stop hits.
Quick check on the weather now, and we have a reported blizzard rolling in from the southeast, so make sure that you have your coats ready because it's going to get real cold real fast. Traffic is non-existent, so it's great time for that summer vacation. If you want to plan your summer vacation, don't hesitate to call the Talofaroy Tourism Travel Agency. All of your tourism needs with one phone call. Book now for a 50% discount on your next out-of-body experience. So to prevent the coming of the final days, we must extinguish the Talofaroy once and for all. Time to learn about the Tower of Babil. Simplified. If you're using the duty support system, I'd recommend single pulling this dungeon. In the beginning of the dungeon, you'll be accompanied by a lot of NPCs. Head up the stairs and ramps until you get to the first pack. Kill the 4 slashers and the Nimrod. Cannon shot from the Nimrod is a large AoE at the feet of any player or NPC, however you can stun the cast before it fires. When everything's been defeated, 4 bits and a satellite will arrive at the area. The satellite will get a donut AoE around it with the cast of Incendiary Circle. Defeat all of these enemies and the gate at the end of the train cart will open, allowing you to continue. Head down the sets of stairs and turn right when you reach the caged prisoners. You'll lose a few of the NPCs to help the prisoners. Exit the train cart and head up the stairs outside of the train. Pull the 4 Pugnacks and the Tempered Imperial to the top of the stairs, where 3 Tempered Imperials, a Satellite, and a Reaper will be waiting. The Reaper will cast Magitech Cannon, which will be a medium-sized AoE at a random player's feet. The Satellite will cast Incendiary Circle again, and the Tempered Imperial that is a Machinist will cast Spread Shot, which is a Conal AoE. Just dodge the AoEs as best you can. When everything has been defeated, all of the other NPCs will split up, leaving you to fight the first boss. Ground and Pound is a straight line AoE directed towards the Scientist. This will cause the Scientist to disappear from the arena. Every Ground and Pound from this point will be directed towards random party members. If you get hit by a Ground and Pound AoE, you'll get a Von Stack and a large knockback which will send you into the wall, but the push can be nullified with knockback immunity. The outside of the wall will get a blue and green glow. If you touch this wall, you'll get a 15-second undiscernible electrocution dot tick. Magnets. How do they work? The cast of Dynamic Scrapline will put an AoE underneath the boss and an electric charge of either positive or negative that will orbit the boss, while everyone else will get tethered while also getting a charge of either positive or negative above their heads. If both charges are the same, you'll be pushed away from the boss. You'll need to be as close to the AoE as possible to make sure that you don't get pushed back into the electrocution wall. If the charges are the opposite, you'll be pulled towards the boss. You'll need to be as close to the wall as possible to avoid being pulled into the AoE in the middle of the arena. When the cast ends, everyone will be stunned and the push or pull part of the magnets will happen. Getting hit by the AoE in the middle of the arena will give you a Von Stack. Shocking Force is a stack marker on a random player. Group up to share the damage. Barnabas will move to the north end of the arena and cast Dynamic Pound. This will put a straight line AoE through the middle of the arena that will have an electric charge while also giving all players another charge icon above their head. When the cast ends, the players will all be stunned and either pushed or pulled depending on the respective charges above each player's head and the AoE. Again, if the charges are the same, you want to be close to the straight line AoE to be pushed away, and if the charges are different, you want to be far away from the straight line AoE to be pulled in, but not so much that you'll be dragged into the AoE, which will give you a Von Stack if you get hit by it. The boss will move into the middle of the room and cast Thunder Call. This will create 4 electric orbs around the arena. The boss will then cast Rolling Scrapline and create an AoE underneath itself. When the cast ends, the 4 electric orbs will get the same sized AoE with the cast of Shock. So everyone will need to get between the AoEs from the orbs to dodge the attack. Getting hit by any AoE will give you a Von Stack. From here, mechanics will begin to repeat until Barnabas has been defeated. Exit out of the boss room and head through to the next area. Interact with the terminal to activate the lift. After a short time, the lift will stop and 4 enemies will land on the platform. 3 Tempered Imperials and a Predator. Watch out for the Predator's Magitech Ray straight line AoE. After all the enemies have been defeated, the lift will continue moving again. It will then stop again and 3 enemies will land on the platform. 2 Sky Armors and a Helldiver. The Sky Armor has an AoE underneath random party members with the cast of Ether Shot. Just move out of it to avoid it. When the enemies have been defeated, the lift will start moving again. After a short time, it will stop and 2 enemies will land on the platform. A Rearguard and a Colossus. The Rearguard will cast Cement Pile, which is a straight line AoE towards a random party member. And the Colossus will have a giant conal AoE called Grand Sword. After these pair of enemies have been exterminated, the lift will continue its journey up to the top where you'll be able to exit the lift and move to the next area. Stop when you reach the 2 Avengers and the Death Machine. The Avengers will cast Shoulder Cannon. This will be an AoE at the feet of a random party member. Just move out of it to avoid it. And the Death Machine will cast the straight line AoE of Magitech Ray. When all 3 enemies have been defeated, the last door on the right will now be open. Second boss time. Thermal Suppression is a room-wide AoE. The cast of Magitech Missile will put AoEs at the feet of random players. Just dodge out of them to avoid the Von Stack that these will give if you get hit by them. Lugae will turn to a random party member and cast Magitech Ray, which is a straight line AoE towards this party member. Just move out of it to avoid it. If you get hit by it, you'll get a Von Stack. The boss will move into the middle of the room and cast either Downpour or Magitech Chakram. The cast of Downpour will entirely fill the arena with water. This will give everyone the debuffs of Heavy and Breathless. If Breathless reaches a stack of 8, you will drown and instantly die. To make sure that you don't reach a stack of 8, walk over the illuminated green square on the west side of the arena. This will turn you into a toad for 20 seconds. While you are a toad, you'll lose the Heavy debuff and also also lose the breathless stacks. While this is happening, the boss will throw out Magitech missiles around the arena, so you'll need to dodge around them as best you can. When the mechanic finishes, you can either walk back over the green square or wait for your Toad debuff to fall off to turn back into the Warrior of Light. Magitech Chakram will create a row of blades that will cover a side of the arena. They will then all perform straight line AoEs across the arena, and there is no safe zone for this mechanic. If you get hit by an AoE, you'll get a hard hit and a Volt stack. To avoid the AoEs, you'll need to step into the illuminated purple square on the east side of the arena. This will cause you to become minimized. The Chakrams will go straight over your tiny head. After both sets of blades are passed, you can wait for your debuff to fall off, or you can walk into the purple square to revert your height back to normal. After another room-wide AoE and Magitech Ray, Luge will cast Magitech Explosive. 3 big spike bombs will land in the arena and all start casting Explosion. This will be a plus pattern of explosions up and down and across the arena. The safe zone for this mechanic will always be in the middle of the arena, directly west or east, whichever side doesn't have a spike bomb on it. Every explosion you get hit by will give you a Von stack. From here, mechanics will repeat until Luge has been defeated. Exit out of the boss room and turn left. Take the next right and head through into the next area. You'll be taken to the lift in the throne room. Interact with the control terminal to activate the lift. When you get to the top, follow the path and pull the Tempered Imperials and the Hexadrone. Continue down the path avoiding the AoEs until you reach the gunship, the rotor, and the other Tempered Imperials. Watch out for when you're going around the corners, as there will be claws that will smack the ground with large AoEs underneath them. The Hexadrone will cast 2 tons Magitech Missile and the gunship will cast Garlean Fire. Both of these will be an AoE at the feet of a random player. When everything has been defeated, the barrier will drop and allow you to continue. Pull the armored weapons and the Tempered Imperial around the corner to the hypertuned enemies on the rotor. The armored weapon will cast Diffractive Laser, which is a point blank AoE. The hypertuned will cast Right Arm Blaster, which is a straight line AoE through a random player, and the rotor will cast Rush, which is also a straight line AoE. When everything has been defeated, you can make your way across the bridge and it's final boss time. Oh wow, it's Anima from Final Fantasy X! Wait, why isn't this the try? Anima will cast Lunar Nail. This will put several spikes around the arena that will form 2 squares in opposite corners. The cast of Phantom Pain will link them together with purple tethers and create AoEs within the borders of the tethers. You'll just need to get to a corner that is not encircled by the tethers to avoid the AoEs. Getting hit by either of these AoEs will give you a Vol stack. The cast of Mega Graviton is a room-wide AoE which will then be accompanied by 4 small black holes in the corners of the arena. As Anima casts Pata Patrie, which will put a straight line AoE through the middle of the arena, which you'll need to avoid or get a Vol stack, each player will be tethered to one of the black holes. You'll need to stretch this tether until it becomes thin and yellow. You'll also need to do this before the small black holes finish casting Ethereal Pull. When this finishes casting, all players will be instantly pulled towards the voids they are tethered to, although you can nullify the pull with Knockback Immunity. If you haven't stretched your tether long enough and don't use Knockback Immunity, the void will hit you for 50% of your max health and a Von stack. The cast of Boundless Pain will cause Anima to tether to the walls on the outside of the arena. When the cast ends, it will drag in all players and create a continuously hitting AoE that will slowly expand until it's almost covering the whole arena. Knockback Immunity will not work for this, but a well-timed gap closer does. When the AoE begins to expand, you'll need to quickly move towards the corners to avoid being hit as much as possible. After this will be the cast of Imperatum. This will stun all players in place and send them to Anima's alternate dimension. A bar labeled Chaos will appear. If this bar fills up, then Anima will perform their ultimate and wipe the group. When you regain control of your character, Anima will cast Obliviating Claw. This first cast will create several AoEs on the sides of the arena, one side then the other. These will create claws in their spots that will shoot out a straight line AoE across the arena with the cast of Charnel Claw. You'll need to see which side had their claws created first and stand at a spot that doesn't have a claw. As the claws race across the arena, you'll need to look to the opposite wall to dodge the next set of claws and avoid the hard hit and the Vol stack that these give out if you get hit by them. The next cast of Obliviating Claw will put 2 tracking arrows on the feet of random players. These players will need to start on one side of the arena to drop the first AoE and then move to the opposite side of the arena as fast as possible. There will be several claws that will follow the path of this player for a few hits, but it won't last the entire distance of the arena before disappearing. Mechanics in this phase will begin to repeat. When you get Anima down to 0.1% health, it will become untargetable and cast Oblivion. This will be their ultimate, which will be a multi-hitting room wide that will send you back to the previous arena. When you regain control of your character, mechanics will begin to repeat. The cast of Lunar Nail will now have 3/4 of the arena covered with tethered squares. This means that only one square up the front of the arena will be safe. There will also be Erupting Pain, which will give everyone a point blank AoE. Spread out as best you can. Mechanics will begin to repeat until Anima has been defeated. Congratulations, you have completed the Tower of Babil. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.